Hello, in this short video I'm going to show you a few tips on how you can annotate diagrams, figures that you need for your rapid research communications. So for instance, if I was working on my IR spectra and I wanted to annotate them so I can include them as a figure, I often will use PowerPoint. There are other software that you can use, but I found PowerPoint really easy to use for this purpose. So for instance, in front of you, you see an experimental IR. This is for Citral. And then what I want to do is include the literature IR and also annotate it. So for instance, I here have my literature IR. And by the way, in this particular case, all I did was click on the Citral PDF because I made available to you these IR. You may need to go to an actual literature source to get the IR. And then I'm simply going to snip this. So I select Snip and Sketch, New, do this, and this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I have snipped this. You have some options. One, you can save this to your desktop or downloads folder, or you can simply copy. In this case, it's easy enough just to copy right into PowerPoint. I copy that page, or that is this picture. I resize so that it's an appropriate size to fit with what I'm wanting. So in PowerPoint, you can put labels like this is graph number 2 and this is peak B. And so for instance, I simply pretty much want to transfer the same labels that I have on my experimental graph to the literature graph, the literature spectrum. So for instance, I can copy this guy, copy, and then paste and put it in the appropriate spot. So I'm not going to do all of this for you right now. If you want to have a line, you can simply insert a particular shape, in this case a line, and then that will allow you to direct a line at the right peak. You can make sure it's a black line, change the size. Very easy to annotate a diagram and make it, I think, look professional. So that's one thing. Now, another thing, for instance, is let's say I have this gas chromatogram and I want to label what the structures are. So I encourage you to make use of, and let me just come back to our website and over here, a draw software. In fact, I pretty much insist that you use an online draw software for such things. We have many draw software available to us. I post 2 in our course Moodle shell, but also in our lab Moodle shell. One is the OpenOChem 2D Draw Editor. I quite like this one, so I'm just now going to open it up. And you should be quite used to this because you use it in doing your OpenOChem homework. By the way, after you've made a drawing, you can actually save it in case you want to work on it later or you've made a mistake or whatever. So for instance, I have saved a drawing and I'm going to open it up here. So load from file, and it's this unnamed one. You can name them, of course. And so that's my neural structure. And so now I want to incorporate that into my lab. There are various approaches. One, you can actually download the image, but I think I find it easier once again to snip. And now select this. And in this case, copy once again. All right, I don't need these things. I go back to my PowerPoint. And so now I paste into my document. Okay, so there's the image that I want. Now sometimes actually it may not actually be the right size. Like that is, I might have too much white border. So even in PowerPoint, you can crop this a little bit as such. And maybe bring it in a little bit on the side there. So I click crop, okay. And then I want to change the size so that it will appropriately fit into my diagram. And I see actually I don't quite like the angle there, so I can change the angle and see if I can fit it in appropriately. What I may need to do is, for instance, get this label at the back here and bring to the front, okay. So, adjust various things. I might need to also do the same thing for my arrow here. So just bring this to the front. And then now I have my structure incorporated. Maybe adjust that a little bit. So again, there should be no issues in being able to bring in structures, mechanism, that sort of thing into your drawings or into your figures. Now let's say I now want to bring this into my document. Once again, I can snip it. One of the things I do encourage you if you're bringing it into Word is to actually then save it as a download. And just to give you a sense of this, let's say I have snipped this picture and now downloaded into my downloads folder, and then I want to incorporate it into my report. And let's say pretty much I want to incorporate it right at this spot here. So I would go insert and then picture and then from this device. And let's say it's this screenshot that I made right here. So I incorporate that. Yeah, there it is. I'm going to adjust its size. Now, one of the things that you may want to do is make sure that you have a text wrap. You don't necessarily have to, but I find it to work nicely. This will be a square text wrap. And then I can then appropriately place my diagram into a spot where it fits well, and then I'm not sort of wasting space, if you will. Okay, so I adjust that. I've already have a figure title, which I wrote in Word, and I probably just need to adjust so that everything aligns up. So there are a lot of options in making your diagram, your lab report, as professional looking as possible. And I'm not just talking about making things pretty. I'm saying trying to be able to communicate well to an audience. And we have the tools with some really basic software to be able to do this. I hope this video has helped.